Good afternoon, and welcome to the Voice of Wisdom. With over 60 years of experience as an investment banker, entrepreneur, venture capitalist, securities analyst, and advisor, Morty Davis is a Wall Street legend. In addition, Mr. Davis is an outstanding economist and highly articulate, incisive, and very entertaining political analyst and strategist. He's Wall Street and capitalism personified. The over 400 companies for which he has raised more than $3 billion over the years have created a countless number of jobs and exciting new products. Through The Voice of Wisdom, Mr. Davis explores, analyzes, and debates the most topical economic and social issues facing our world today. Joining Mr. Davis today for a discussion on the news making the headlines is Len Carter. Len is an investment banker, business consultant, and private investor. And now, Mr. Davis and Mr. Carter.
Hello again. It's great to be back with you. Some of my favorite people in the whole world. I love you all because you add to my wisdom. Your comments are so appreciated, even though in some instances I get a little upset because they're very harsh, the criticism. But then I calm down and I say, look, she or he has a point, and let me think about what they're saying. And I broaden my my understanding and my acceptance of different points as a result. So you add to my knowledge and to my total understanding, and as a result, you make me not a better podcast, but you make me a better human being because I'm more tolerant of other people's opinion. So keep on sending me your incisive comments and even your harsh criticisms. I'd appreciate it if you'd make it a little harsh, less harsh. But I'm just kidding. You can make it as harsh as you wish. You should get it off your chest. So, without further ado, I want to thank you again and wish you everything wonderful, you and all your loved ones, because you're my favorite people in the whole world. It's Wednesday night again, 6:30, and I'm delighted to be back with you. So without further ado, let's get on with the this week's podcast. I want to apologize, as I always do, because the nature of this podcast, which is designed to review the breaking news of the week, and that comes to you through your reading the headlines of the New York Times or whatever daily media newspaper you address or you use, and through your newscasts on network television, which, if your experience is like mine, in the middle of every program that I'm immersed in, there's, during the week, a breaking news, urgent breaking news. They intrude on my listening to my favorite news program or my favorite discussions, my favorite debates, my favorite soap operas, whatever I'm listening to. So, and inevitably, by the very nature of what they break in, because they don't break in to my listening with stories about happy things or wonderful things, or some nice couple got married and the adventures that brought them together and so forth. Interesting stories, but they're not news breaking. So what I usually get is the mass slaughter that occurred in the United States at the rate of about one every 2 days, and less than mass slaughters, just killings that are not mass slaughter, but somebody coming into a church or a synagogue or a college, school, or university, and also the fires in California and other places, the floods, the hurricanes, all the breaking horrendous news. Once in a while, they caught some serial killer, which makes the news, especially if he not only was a serious killer, because even that happens too often to make the headlines, but a serial killer that's stored the bodies of the women or the persons that he kills and puts those bodies in a freezer and is eating them during the subsequent period. So all horrendous stories, all inevitably bound to depress any normal person as they do me. So at the outset of each of these podcasts, because that's what it deals with, and not fun news or happy news, but, a bunch of kindergarten kids or first grade kids, 5, 6, 7 years old, and their teachers being slaughtered while in their classrooms, or people that are attending a social event where some lunatic is angry at somebody or at that specific event and comes in and with a gun that shoots massive number of bullets within 2 minutes and kills a bunch of innocent young children, their teachers, people gathered in churches and synagogues and parties. I mean, almost, I think, at the rate of 2 a day are the mass slaughters in the United States. That's not to say that's the limit, because there's at least one every day, at the rate of one every day. That's not a mass slaughter, but somebody with a gun that's killed some people or even family members, mothers and fathers and friends, unprovoked, innocent citizens. And that news breaks the listening habit, the media that I'm addressed to, that I'm interested in, that they address. So, given that I'm bringing you that instead of happy news, which never makes these headlines, even when somebody gives $100 million as a donation to a university, a charity, or some worthwhile cause, that doesn't make it gets into the page 25. It makes but it's not dramatic enough in terms of its impact, they feel, to warrant a front-page headline or an interruption of whatever network program you're listening to or whatever cable you happen to be listening to. So by virtue of it inevitably being depressing in what I present, what we talk about each week on this podcast, I know it's inevitably going to have the effect of leaving you feeling down and more depressed than before you tuned in. So I have to apologize up front for bringing that negative feeling, that depression, because even though I heard it over the news and I'm repeating it during our podcast, it gets me depressed. So I must start off by apologizing for what we deliver. But if I'm going to be realistic, there's no fabulous good news that comes across with the urgent announcements that interrupt the podcast or the radio television cast that I'm listening to. So without further ado, after I offered this apology, I'm now going to impart a depressing series of messages that, if you're at all normal, is going to depress you, even though it depresses, just as it depresses me, even though I've heard it during the week, and this is another time I'm hearing it, it still depresses me. And because I know it's going to depress you, I put in front of me a book I wrote to increase your happiness, your contentment in life. I have to modify the word happiness because in this country we view happiness as two drunks, two people, or 10 people, or even just one person that's laughing and smiling and enjoying the impact of a bottle of scotch or what's the Russian drink?
Vodka.
A bottle of vodka, or some drug that has them high, like marijuana or cocaine, or so many that I can't even mention the names. So I mean, the kind of happiness that doesn't last for an hour or two from such a fix, which does seem to produce a great deal of happiness. They're slapping each other on the back and they're laughing, and then as soon as the effect wears off, they're throwing up or have a headache or a hangover. Hardly really happiness. So I think of what I offer in this book as contentment that improves your daily life, every minute of your life, your interactions with your spouse, your children, your friends, your neighbors, your fellow citizens, your fellow human beings. So before I launch into our podcast, that's going to inevitably, if you're at all anywhere like me, I don't want to say normal because I hope you're even more normal than I am. But the real feeling human being is bound to depress you. So without further ado, after I extend my apologies, I want to launch into this exciting week's agenda of events that we're going to discuss this during today's podcast. I appreciate you all because you contribute as cohorts, as actively involved participants with me in the delivery of what I extend to you every week. So without further ado, let's get on with this week's podcast.
Why don't you tell them about your money-back guarantee?
Yeah, one of the reasons I have this book in front of you, if you have it at your screen on, called Happiness Guaranteed or Your Misery Back. At the bottom of the cover, it says, how to be happy no matter what. And that's what it's meant to produce. But not happy in the sense that I just described, but happy, uplifted, inspired, feeling good about yourself, and enthusiastic about life and your own life, despite the numerous adversities that we all experience, including minor failures and major horrendous tragedies that inevitably, if we live any length of time, we are subject to. So this book is I undertook to do for you what a book by a famous writer, fabulous book that a Catholic priest who was a bishop in a church in mid-Manhattan. And I came across his book at a young age, at a time when I was always depressed about life. It was the height of the Depression. There was 25%. I was born in 1929. So that was the height of the Depression, 25% unemployment. People were suffering starvation. We didn't even have the benefits, any of the meek benefits that exist today. But any kind of support of that, if people didn't have money that they saved enough in their younger ages and were retired without money, they were living in the streets, homeless. They sent them to poor houses where they were mistreated and neglected and even beaten up by impatient caretakers, resentful caretakers who said, why are you out there working instead of being here? And so I was depressed by not doing great in some courses at school or my father being angry at me for not doing better in some of my grades, disappointment in the Brooklyn Dodgers, who I loved, and were losing games regularly. But I had lots of reasons to feel, in my view, correctly or not, depressed and down and so forth. And then I came across a book by Bishop Norman
Vincent Peale.
Norman Vincent Peale, called The Power of Positive Thinking. And the message was, no matter what happens, put a positive view of it, a positive attitude, and come out of feeling good, because positive attitudes and gratitude of that positive attitude leads to positive results. And it changed my life, the power of positive thinking. And one other great book that I came across at the same time by one of the great nonfiction writers called Dale Carnegie, who wrote a book, bestseller, called How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was an international bestseller, taught you how to have better relationships with your own spouse, your children, your friends, and then followed that with a book that influenced me enormously, which was a follow-on to that first book that he wrote, called Stop Worrying, Start Living. Those two books changed me from a depressed, always mopey young person to a very positive, always upbeat, always inspired, and always contented, no matter what. Personality, smiling at people. After I read those two books, people told me it was a pleasure to be around me because I had such a nice, positive attitude. And it was a result of those two books that inspired me to write this book, to convey the same kind of thoughts, those two books being the basis, but also I collected all of the writings since the beginning of mankind that I could find, all the messages, biblical and preachers and priests and rabbis and sermonizers and philosophers, all the way back to the early Greeks, Socrates and Plato, right up to the present day, Freud and the many psychologists. So I spent the next 12 years gathering all that accumulated knowledge that was out there and published and written about, and putting it together in this book, or the earliest stages of this book. The first 12 years I spent doing that. And then one day, my middle daughter, Rookie, who's an author and written a couple of 3 or 4 excellent books on life, picked up my draft and read it, and she said, "Dad, I just read the draft of your book, and it's fabulous. Why don't you publish it? I said, well, I'm still gathering more information every day. She said, well, I read it, and it's phenomenal as it is. Publish it. I said, okay, I'll do it soon. But she saw I was still seeking to add even more, so she joined me in the effort. And for the next 2 years, she produced significant, great input from others that I hadn't yet discovered. And I brought it out after 12 years. I think I spent 12 years at first. Maybe it was 14 years. And this is the product of that. And the reason I have it in front of me right now for your perusal and information, your awareness, is ever since I published it, I've gotten so many compliments, unsolicited, from the biggest people and from the most everyday people, saying how much it's improved their attitude about life, their gratitude of what they experience, and their very nature and the contentment they enjoy, and that shows up in their smile and their interaction with others. Most importantly, their spouse, their children, their grandchildren, their neighbors, their friends, their fellow Americans, their fellow human beings throughout the world. So having experienced that feedback from the people that bought it and heard about it, and those many people that received it as gifts. There's one CEO of a major corporation sends out thousands of gifts every year. He says he never got such a positive response from any gift he's given. He says he's lucky if he gets a thank you note after the first week when he sends it. And in this case, he says he keeps getting notes weeks and months after he sends it as a gift, thanking him for the uplift that it gives them, for the better person it makes them, for the more inspired person it makes them, for being more uplifted and more positive and just more content with every aspect of their life. So I wanted to show it to you. And since, as I just said, and I apologize for it, I'm likely to induce a sense of down mood, depression. I want you to know that I have a simple prescription that works marvelously. It's this very book, Happiness Guaranteed, or Your Misery Back. If you have the picture of it on your screen now, as you should have if you're watching it live, and it says Happiness Guaranteed or Your Misery Back, and you can't see the bottom of the page unless you have a big screen. On the screen I'm watching now, it doesn't have it, but the bottom of the cover says, How to Be Happy No Matter What. So I want to tell you, before I even start the program, that I know that's going to have a down mood on your feeling, the feeling of being down. and depressed, I wanted you to have this prescription. And I'm so sure that you're going to be more content. I'm not using the word happiness, but real contentment. Every act you do, every smile that comes up, every relationship is going to be, at least for the people that have responded, beneficial, uplifting, inspiring, and the best supplement, the best drug that I could think of. So as soon as possible, I would urge you to wait till the end of this podcast. I don't want to lose the value and the benefit and the contributions you ultimately make as my cohorts in talking about this program and how I should improve it or how I should change my view on certain things. God bless you. I love you. So I'm so sure, based on the experience I get from people who bought it, the book, or got as gifts and so forth, how much they benefited from it, how much it's changed their attitude in life, how it makes them smile more and be more inspired and more uplifted and benefit in so many ways to give them a really more contented life. There's nothing better than that. That's real happiness. That's not the happiness of a drug or a bottle of scotch or vodka, which leaves right after the effect wears off with a headache or nauseous or with a hangover the next morning. So because of the universal compliments I've gotten from just about everybody, I haven't gotten any negative criticism, but just about everybody that ever voluntarily, I don't even solicit comments, writes me thank you notes for changing their life, for making them more content, and how much they appreciate it. And so I want to tell you, given that experience, that it's so universally admired, appreciated, and helped them to be more contented, real happiness, which is contentment, which is in every act, in every minute of their life, to feel more uplifted, more inspired, more enthused about life, more gratified. So I have this wonderful deal that I decided to offer my listeners, and that is, if you buy a copy of this book and you don't share that view, that it's been a major benefit to you, that it's uplifted your life, it's inspired you, it's made you happier, or better still, a more contented, uplifted, and gratified person with a smile all the time. I promise you, if you send me the purchase price of your purchase, or even if you got it as a gift, if you don't appreciate the way I'm telling you, you will, that I'm so sure you will, send me the copy of the purchase price of the person who gifted it to you, and I will send you the best deal you've ever had. Double what the purchase price says. So right away you should be happy just doubling the amount of money you spent, or double amount of money the person who gifted it to you. You didn't even spend anything, and you're getting a gift of a check from me. And so if you do that, and you can keep the book too, so I can't think of a better deal anybody could ever give you, where you keep the book, you can enjoy it, even if you just sent me the note that you didn't enjoy it or didn't benefit from it because you want to get double your money back. I will send you that refund of double your money and even double what the person who gifted it to you, on which you spent no money, so you got a windfall. So run out and don't wait. When you wait, often you delay and then you forget and you don't do it. It's going to be the best gift you bought yourself and the best dollars you ever intended to spend. And if you don't find that true, it's a win-win situation because you get double your money back. Just don't run out and buy 40 books, so you get double your money back for those 40 books. And I will let you keep the book and enjoy it anyway. So thank you. God bless you. And it's great to be back with you as I am with you every Wednesday at 6:30. Without further ado, we're privileged, and it's a pleasure for me and should be for you that we have once again Len Carter, one of the brightest guys and most uplifting guys I've met in all the years. I'm on Wall Street and was at Harvard Business School and at the various universities that I graduated from with honors and that he graduated from. So, Leonard, you want to?
Yes, thank you, Morty. Good to be back. So last week we were conversing a little on national priorities.
Yeah.
Talked about guns and how that impacts people's lives, and through the lens of the White House Correspondents' Dinner where there was a shooting. So I thought we would continue on that in that vein. Some other national priorities.
It's even said for me to hear you discussing the acquisition of guns by such a major part of the American population, where there's more than one gun for every living person, including more than one gun for every infant that's born an hour ago and so forth. And you just describe it one of the national priorities, which apparently it is, because I don't know any other product that from birth there's more than one for every human being, every citizen.
Well, national priority in terms of some people think of it as a priority to have guns, other people think a priority to control guns. So it's a national debate priority. But another national debate priority topic is free speech. And, we know the United States is one of the few, maybe the only country that actually has, in its Constitution, free speech, specifically protected. And so, as you can imagine, that's been over the years topic of interpretation and discussion. What is free speech? What is not? Can you cry fire in a crowded theater? Is that free speech? We we saw a fallout from that White House dinner where late night comedian Jimmy Kimmel made what I thought was not so funny joke about Melania Trump maybe being a widow after this shooting, and that prompted, or I guess that's the question.
Melania Trump is Trump's present wife.
Yeah, Melania.
Number 3.
Yeah. So shortly after that, the FCC has asked ABC, or Disney, the parent of ABC, to provide information regarding the renewal of its broadcasting licenses, which typically happens
automatically,
pretty much automatically, and I believe ABC's licenses are currently up for renewal many years from now, not now. So the fact that the FCC has asked them to provide information now is somewhat unusual, and the question is that something that's putting pressure on ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel, because we know President Trump doesn't like Jimmy Kimmel, and is Len Carter, head of the FCC, following the direction of the president by putting pressure on ABC? Now, Len Carter is a very smart lawyer, and so he would never come out and say we are curtailing Disney's free speech. Instead, the explanation is we are looking into renewing Disney's licenses amid a DEI probe, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's why we're looking into Disney, not because we don't like Kimmel. So
they made that a high priority, eliminating DEI.
Yes.
This administration.
Yes. So that is a rationale that the FCC is using to look into and potentially revoke, I suppose, Disney's or ABC's licenses. So
Trump
is that just a ruse? Is that a ruse to censor?
Yeah.
Or is it actually, you think, legitimate, and if there is a DEI issue, then Disney shouldn't be allowed to have ABC say what
Trump has the attitude that DEI is a bias to bring more to favor blacks or some group, and he doesn't like the fact that it's bias. So he wants companies and schools and not to consider DEI, and so forth. It's been, I don't know if outlawed, but is it outlawed?
I think Trump has signed some executive orders, attempting to curtail it. I mean, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action 2 years ago, again, in the case of Harvard.
And most businesses now have dropped their DEI,
or at least not put as big an emphasis on it and advertised it as much. So, do you think that this is a case of actual DEI investigation, or is it really coincidentally it just happened right after the off-color remark by Jimmy Kimmel, followed by criticism by President Trump, who said he should be fired?
I'm sure there's a high, if it's not exactly the reason, there's a very high correlation for that action.
So how do you prevent that potential curtailment of freedom of speech? Do you we're supposed to have a federal government that that responds and respects the Constitution.
Just like you said, you can't holler fire in a movie theater with a lot of people there. People could get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
There's no law that is written in the Constitution specifically outlawing that free speech.
Right.
But we understand that it's inappropriate and not consistent with the Constitution that's supposed to eliminate biases and so far as possible.
Right. But is just a comedian telling jokes that not everyone likes, is that the same thing as yelling fire in a crowded theater?
No, it's not.
So is that...
But he says it's unacceptable because it doesn't introduce a bias. It's trying to get more African Americans to be chosen for jobs or for colleges. So he doesn't want that as a factor. I don't think he outlawed it as such, but he's made it a big issue. So if somebody doesn't follow it, then he abuses them for not following his strong feelings.
So here's another example of what some people say is a curtailment of freedom of speech. James Comey, former FBI head. So he was indicted for a second time the other day for posting a photograph that he took of seashells on the beach about a year ago, where the seashells made up the numbers 86 and 47. And he posted that on the social media or wherever. And
86 being what?
It was just the number 86 and then the number 47.
Sam, what does it symbolize?
So that's the issue. So the DOJ.
I'm saying, why did they take issue?
Here's why.
With that number? Why?
The Justice Department said that is a threat to the President of the United States.
Why?
Because 86.
He's not the 86th president.
No, he's the 47th president. 86 is a saying or a slang or a vernacular for getting rid of someone.
Oh.
So, like the mob uses 86 him.
I've heard that.
You know, so when you see 86, 47, that could be construed as you want to get rid of 47 or get rid of the president. So shortly after the post was up, it was down. He took it down. So
who took it down?
Comey.
That's a riot because, if anything, Trump should be indebted forever to Comey because the reason...
Won the first election, right?
The reason they won, what was it, 2016? 16 was just before the election.
Yep.
Comey said, and Hillary was way, way ahead, that she's in trouble. She's going to be indicted.
Emails. Yep. And then it was right before, and then he wound up not doing it after the election or shortly before the election, but the damage was done.
Yeah. It was too close to the election to have any.
Yeah.
It was perfect in terms of burying her.
Yeah.
She had no period to explain it.
Right. So that is ironic.
And then he withdrew it quickly.
Yes, but it didn't matter. So yeah, you're right. That is kind of ironic because here it is now. Trump is trying to put Comey in jail.
And his daughter.
And the daughter in New York, who's a prosecutor, right.
He definitely has been trying to punish Comey.
He says no. I mean, the DOJ says no. That's a threat. Yeah. You know, so the question is, you know, is that tantamount to saying, I mean, if he had come out in a press conference and said, I am going to kill the president. That's a threat. That's an illegal thing, and that is punishable.
Yeah, if you make that threat and you don't carry it out, it's punishable.
So the question is showing that picture. He didn't say, "I'm going to do that." He didn't, say anything that you should do that. It was just a picture. So, is that
it said the picture said, "I'm going to kill the president"?
No, picture just had seashells with the numbers 86 and 47. I don't know.
I would never know what the seashells. So, what do the seashells, indicate?
They just spelled out the numbers 86,
the seashells,
47.
The fact that seashells.
No, it just spelled. It was just in the shape of the number 86, 47.
Crazy.
So, we'll see, because he was arrested, or I guess he was arrested, indicted, pled not guilty, and now we'll see. I think
who was arrested?
Comey was indicted for that.
Comey wrote that.
He posted a picture.
Oh,
he saw it on the beach. He took
I
a picture.
thought you said the comedian did that.
No, that Jimmy Kimmel was the joke about Melania. So the question, I think most legal scholars say that it's a very hard case to win against Comey, because you have to show intent, real intent. And so he didn't say anything. He just posted this picture. So, is that intent to kill the president? It seems like a bit of a stretch, but on the other hand, a lot of what I think this retribution campaign, which Trump said before as he was running, "I am your retribution." He, and we know, he does do what he says he's going to do. No one should ever be surprised.
That's right.
So,
he does.
We'll see what happens, I guess. But, an interesting First Amendment. Is it free speech, or is it a threat? I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of leaning toward that one's not going to really make it too far. But, damage again is done. It's the process is the punishment. He's arrested. The expenses. It's aggravation. He has to have lawyers.
Maybe inspired, because there's been now four attempts to kill. I think 4 attempts. The first time he was shot 3 times.
Yep.
And recently...
3 or 4, yeah. So why don't we... Okay, so let's move on to another national priority of how should we spend our, money? How should the country spend money? They've been back a couple of weeks now, but the Artemis II crew that went to the moon and back without landing on the moon, just went around it and came back, was something that hasn't happened since Apollo 50 years ago.
We paid a fortune for a roller coaster ride.
Yes. And now there's going to be Artemis III, where I guess maybe they'll actually get out of the capsule instead of just going or making loops around. So, that effort and the development up to that effort cost billions of dollars.
I'm against that expenditure in terms of our priorities, because I'm much more into doing good things for the American public rather than... I don't see the big benefit of, even if they land on the moon, and then maybe long term it's a good idea to discover what we have around us, but I don't find any urgency, whereas every congressman, every senator, every president, their children, their grandchildren, will all be killed by some disease that's not being addressed. So I just don't understand why they don't get it, as if they're immune. To me, it's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, you think about if you took the billions of dollars and divided it up into chunks of say 10 million.
Yeah.
10 million is enough to get a little biotech company going and seeing if it works and developing something.
I feel the same way.
About how many 10 millions go into billions and billions?
I feel the same way.
Hundreds of companies.
I feel the same way about the amount of defense spending, because not one American congressman, president, cabinet member, or any member of their families has till this day been killed by an attack by a foreign power.
Right. Well, then
I'm in favor of the Monroe Doctrine.
Except if
which says that we should only indulge in wars or conflicts on our own continent.
Except Iran.
Not except Iran. Iran's been...
That wouldn't be the Monroe Doctrine.
No, they've been abusive.
So then it's not the Monroe Doctrine.
He didn't exclude direct attacks, He
So
said,
then it's...
That's not by choice. When you're attacked, it's not by choice.
So how do you...
Iran has been attacking us for years.
So how do you defend yourself and deal with a country like Iran without a significant defense budget?
We have such a big defense budget. We could deal with Russia and China and Japan.
They say we've used up half of our missiles in the conflict with Iran so far.
Yeah, so we have...
That's why we need more of a defense budget.
We have a lot more other equipment. We're so over defensed. It's outrageous. As a matter of fact, they changed the thing now. They called the defense budget. It was called the Defense Department. Now, for some reason, mainly honesty, I guess, they call it the War Department. So they're not saying anymore. Nobody could be against real defense.
Yep. So, well, that's
one thing about Trump. He's honest.
Yep.
The War Department. What was the reason for that change?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think it sounds
like a War Department.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible. Look, in a way, it gets another thing on our agenda. For no reason, and it's in our own continent, out of the blue, he's thinking about going to war against Cuba.
Yep.
For what? They're not a threat. It's not like last time when we had the Russians threatening to put atomic bombs in.
Yep.
He gets an urge, and then it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
you understand why? I understand why, because there's a big vote in Florida by Cuban.
I mean, that's what they said
Cubans
on the way back.
Exiled.
On the way back from Iran, they'll stop by in Cuba. That's what they're saying. Anyway, so we are about out of time, but
already?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We have had an interesting discussion, and we will have other priorities and things to talk about.
All right, I'm sorry it's ending so soon. I hope you enjoyed the parts that we could handle, because we had a much broader agenda of the week's events that needed to be discussed. But anyway, thank you for joining me this week. I look forward to joining you next week, same time, same station, or another station if you like, at 6:30 Wednesday evening. Have a wonderful week. God bless you and all your loved ones, and every day of your life should be better and more rewarding than the day before. Bye.